Hi everybody, this is Tina with Loving Life's Little Blessings, and I'm sorry for my voice today. I was sick last week and I have recovered, but my voice is not 100% better. So I'm sorry about that. Today I wanted to share with you a bunch of different ways that I've colored some images. As you guys know, the new catalog is out, the annual catalog, and as always, this happens to me every single time when I purchase new product. I really want to play with all of it and create something, and then I always just draw a blank. It's like I cannot find any creative mojo to create anything. So my fix for this is I go and I find another card and I case it. So when you case something, it means to copy and share everything is what that means. So you just copy a design and you do it and then you share it. So there's lots of different opinions about casing, and some people don't like it and some people think you shouldn't and other people think it's okay. I really don't care if people case my stuff. That's why I do what I do. So you are welcome. I give you all permission to copy anything I do, and I always think it's very flattering. And the truth of the matter is I'm not all that creative in coming up with an idea, but I am really good at seeing something and putting my own spin on it. So let me show you what I found. This is some cards I found on Pinterest. On my coordinating blog post, which you can get to by clicking right up here, I will link these cards so that you can see them and how they look, because I know it's a little hard on my phone. So I saw these cards and immediately I loved them. I had wanted to use this set. It's one of the sets that I had really wanted to use. So I thought, well, I'll just make these cards. So let me show you what I did first. First of all, I took off all the sentiments on these stamps. They're attached. I cut them off, all except this one. And the only reason I didn't cut this one off is because the sentiment comes really close to the image. So that's the first thing I did, is when I prepped my stamps, I took the sayings off so that I could use different sayings. The next thing is I used this designer stack. This is the 6x6. It is Pretty Petals. I love this stack. It is beautiful, beautiful. So let me show you what I did. I made 4 each of the card. Okay, so I knew I needed to make a ton of cards and I thought these were beautiful, and so I thought, well, I'll just make 4 at a time. So I used Very Vanilla for all my stamping, the base of all my stamping, and the squares are all cut at 3.5 by 3.5. So that made it really simple. So the designer paper is cut at 4 by 5.25, and then my square is 3.5 by 3.5. So I just went through, I picked all the same designs that they did on the photo I just showed you on my phone. So I just did that, but what I did is I used different bases. So for this particular one, I used an old olive base, and then I'm going to insert some footage here of how I colored this image. I colored this image in a very pearl essence-y finish, and then I used a pearl, one of the new pearls. And then I also used some glitter, some spray glitter. So I'm going to insert the footage now of how I colored this card. So pretty cool, right? That was a really neat way to use your ink pads. And then I used this Smooch, which Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry this anymore. I got it when Stampin' Up! Did carry it. This is the Smooch Pearlized Accent ink. So all I did was mix this with the ink right on my ink pad. Not on my ink pad, I'm sorry, on the lid of my ink pad. And that's what allowed me to get this beautiful coloring. So that was super simple, and then I changed it up. The other cards just had a banner, and I just used a strip. Okay, so it came out really cute. I love this one. So then let's look at the frog. This I colored using some watercolor pencils, and they're the Stampin' Up! Watercolor pencils that we had a long time ago. We don't have them anymore, but I still have them around. And you can see I just did the watercolor pencil, and then I did a different stamp. I used Old Olive, and then I used some candy dots. And then of course I used the googly eyes because I can't stand not to. So I love those, and it's been a long time since I had an opportunity to use those. So right now I'm gonna insert some footage of how I colored this guy. So you can see on the footage of me coloring him, all I did was use my Stella pen, and I used this quite a few times to color different items on these cards. I used the Stella to move the color around from the pencils, and the reason I did that is because this is very vanilla cardstock. It's not watercolor cardstock, and so if I would have just used my aqua painter, it would have been too much water for the paper. And I'm not a big fan of the blender pens. I've not really ever got them to work the way I really think that they should, or the way I really want them to. So the great thing about the Stella pen is it's just enough moisture and glitter to move that color around and blend it without leaving the paper too moist. So I loved that, and it was super simple. I just did exactly what the photo from Pinterest did. I did the banner behind that. These are next. And you know what, guys? I believe that these squares are all 4x4. I only cut one square down. Oh no, 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, so I was right when I told you guys in the beginning. So here's the next card. This did not require a lot of coloring, which was fantastic. I'm not a huge person that loves coloring. I don't, adore coloring. So it can get tedious for me, and then I can not be enjoying what I'm doing. So this was great because I did it in between some of the other ones that required more coloring, and it gave me a little break. So what I've done on this is, well, I'll just insert the footage here of what I did, and you can see. that was really simple. I just used my writer markers to add that, and then I did add, which is going to be a little hard to pick up, I did add a little bit of Wink of Stella over the mint macaroon, and then I added the little silver brads, and that was super simple, and then one of these cute little embellishments. So those were those. And then these, I did trim down the Very Vanilla piece on this part, and I did it 3x3, and then I added a mint macaroon layer down here to layer it, and then I did a black circle and a Very Vanilla circle. This is a 1 3/8 inch circle, and then this is with our new 1.5 inch punch. So I will insert the footage of how I colored this guy right here. So you can see with this, I just took my real red ink pad and again my Wink of Stella pen, and I dipped my Wink of Stella pen right in my ink and then colored him. It was a little bit harder to do that because he has so much surface. So if you look really closely, it's not as smooth coloring as maybe you would get with, you know, your alcohol-based markers, your Copics, or those kinds of things. But what I did to try to add a little bit of shading is I just picked up more of the ink in places I wanted it to be darker, and then I used less ink and really pulled the ink away when I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. So it's like I said, it's not like this perfect, beautiful shaded piece, but it does give you a little bit of interest. It gives you that glitter and that shine, and it was perfect. So I did thank you on this. I did follow your heart on this. Thank you on this, and then thank you on this. So I used all different sentiments on these, and then it did take me, I would say, probably about 2 hours to do all of these, but I had a blast doing it. They're beautiful. I love them. And now I'm feeling really creative, and I can dive in with some of my other product and feel good about what I'm creating. So I just want to encourage you guys to head on over to my coordinating blog post. You're going to see photos of all of these. I will have a link for where I found the other cards that I cased from, so I can give credit to that person. And then there's also a supply list. I missed a video with you guys last Wednesday. I was supposed to have a bonus video up for you guys, so hopefully I'll have that up for you guys this Wednesday now that I'm feeling better. So thank you guys so much. Come back and visit me tomorrow when I'll have a Project Life by Stampin' Up layout for you guys. I hope you're having a fabulous week, and I'll talk to you soon.
If you wanna play, make it about a play.